To politicize government service is to undermine the whole promise of government service, right? Government servants are supposed to serve the government, not a party. And the government is supposed to be something that is established by the voting rights of the people. So whether you like or disagree with whoever the people say should be in the administrative powerhouse, right? Whatever administration is set by the people, you and your job is to serve the government that was set by the people. So we've had a very functioning, effective, operational level of government for a long time. I mean, all across the IC. For anybody who lives in Washington, D.C., or anybody who's worked in government, you know that at the first 2 or 3 levels of your career, you are apolitical. Your job is to execute on policy, write and review changes to legislation, execute on basic operational needs that keep the government running. It's not until you've been in government for 10, 12, 15 years that you start rising up to middle management, which is a mandate of government service. You must either escalate or evacuate, really. As you start going up, that's when you start having to play this very political game where you have to understand the needs of your boss, whether they are politically leaning left or right, whether or not the policy is changing, and that's going to change the funding source, and that's going to change the prioritization. And then that just gets worse and worse the higher you get in a role.
I think there's a notion, which may not be true, that those who choose to get into law enforcement, intelligence, and military tend to be more politically conservative. To the extent that you had colleagues and coworkers the way many people do, and when you're working in a clandestine role, I don't know if you have that sort of relationship with colleagues and coworkers. Did you observe or even notice the political leanings of the people you worked with, or was it really kept out of the work that you did?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is an example of just how secret these organizations are, right? In reality, David, the vast majority of people who go into intelligence work are liberal.
Is that right?
They are actually progressive,
Huh.
and they're hired between the age of 24 and 28. But what happens is as they gain years of experience dealing with the world outside of the United States, dealing with just the trash and the shit and the chaos and the corruption that exists everywhere else in the world, that also exists here, but by virtue of intensity, it's much less intense here. They start to see how important it is to maintain the United States as the world's global superpower. And then that progressive, as they become 30 and 35 and 40, and they become senior leaderships, they shift to a more center and even right position.
So fresh, son.